This is a brand new Kirblog, and it is about X-Men, specifically the cartoons. So there. Welcome. I'm joined by some new people.
You want?
Who are you?
You want to just start that over?
No, I was. Oh, you missed my joke, you fool! I was setting you up, and you ruined it. My God. Who are you?
Cyclops.
I really wanted to leave you dangling for a while.
Thanks. See, Mike had my fucking back. Thank you. I'm joined by Mike and Steve again.
I guess you could tell what show I didn't watch over.
No, clearly, and yet that's our fucking inside joke.
Here's a little hint.
What do you actually? Oh, is that
it's
fucking?
Evolution.
Oh, I thought you were. I didn't even clearly. Okay. And by this point, everybody's hit the fucking X button. Yeah. Welcome. Mayorville continues. We're doing X-Men week to wrap up the month of Mayorville. I'm joined by Mike and Steve again. Hi, guys.
Hey, go X-Men.
Yes. Thank you.
Oh, could we start doing the Colossus screams?
So I wanted to start off talking about, I think probably overall my favorite Marvel property, despite how much I've been talking about. I love Spider-Man, I love Captain America, I love the Avengers and all the Marvel cinematic universe stuff and so on and so forth. But X-Men, I do believe, is where my Marvel first love lies after all these years.
That was like the first thing I knew of as Marvel was X-Men.
And comics in general, or did DC probably predate that?
I don't know. I don't even know if I knew it was a comic at the time. I knew it was a cartoon. And then I think the next thing I knew, Iron Man was a thing. And then I knew Spider-Man, because Iron Man had a short-lived cartoon, and then Spider-Man.
That's true, yeah.
But X-Men, no, I think X-Men was my first kind of foray into the Marvel.
Yeah, no, it's funny, because I didn't realize, back in the day, when the X-Men 90s cartoon was happening, there was an Iron Man show, there was a Fantastic Four show.
They did everything.
There was a Hulk show. I think all of them were connected, too.
Avengers, they did at one point.
Was there?
Yeah, they did Avengers, but it was Captain wasn't in it. I don't even know if Iron Man was in it. To be honest.
There was an Avengers cartoon. I think that was early 2000s.
I think some of them just had they would retitle them and have different characters in there.
Oh, okay.
I think they had Spider-Man and his Fantastic Friends.
Oh yeah,
that show was from the 70s.
Yeah, was that before all that?
Yeah, we watched that at Zach's place that one time.
I thought that was part of the same.
No, that was way earlier.
That's where he was buddies with
Firestar and Iceman.
Oh, that was not Human Torch.
No, that was Firestar.
Oh,
yeah,
I was just
some chick. Yeah, and then Iceman, because why not? But yeah, so throughout the technically 4, because we just before we started recording this, we watched the Pride of the X-Men pilot, which these two had never seen before. X-Men, never know it. It's fucking amazing Australian.
I gotta admit, that gave me the inspiration I needed to talk about. Not I can't talk about X-Men, but that perked me up.
Oh, because the fact that I knew you guys hadn't seen that, I was okay, this will be a good
I knew it existed, and I saw a clip of Wolverine one time, and I was like, holy shit.
Yeah. No, that was just what everybody thought. He was
Canadian,
Australian. In fact, apparently, no, not Canadian, but they just assumed Wolverine. Oh, because Wolverines are Australian mammals, so
they're they're Australian. They're like those dingo things, right?
Yeah, Tasmania, I guess.
Yeah. Can you imagine Wolverine sounding like, "Oh, I'm gonna go in there and rip up Magneto." Spinning around.
I feel like that's such an easy Marvel superhero squad type, and yet they didn't do that, surprisingly. But yeah, so I wanted to bring these two guys on because also, they're, like myself, they're big into specifically the X-Men cartoons. Yeah. And I wanted to start off, start the beginning of the end of the month of Mayorville with that. So you were kind of going into it, but I guess origin points of X-Men, which I'm assuming was the 90s cartoon, when it was around.
I knew X-Men existed. I don't think I ever watched a single episode of the 90s series.
Never?
No, not till I was in college.
Okay.
I knew what X-Men was. I was more of a Kids WB kid, I think. God,
was that Fox? Was it on Fox, the X-Men cartoon?
Yes.
Okay.
Right. It's funny, back then we had Console Wars. people gave a shit about whether you drink Coke or Pepsi. And then
Pepsi Blue.
Pepsi Blue was awesome. Maybe it wasn't. I don't know. And like then it came to the point. It's like, oh, what Saturday morning block do you watch? Because we didn't have like DVR and all that stuff. If we had DVR, we'd never leave the house.
Yeah.
So you kind of had to choose your like team for that. And I watch Kids WB a lot, but like I remember Fox Kids. Like I remember like the Avengers cartoon and all that.
So do they have all the Marvel cartoons on Fox?
At one point or another, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure. Like,
Makes
I mean,
sense.
someone could wiki check that and prove me wrong. I really don't care.
Yeah, I remember them being on Fox.
Yeah, I just remember like Marvel.
I didn't watch much of Fox. So.
Well, because Fox Kids was just like, for me personally, Fox Kids and Disney Channel, like Disney Afternoon stuff, it was just like around, but I wasn't like, I was just so like, oh, Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network, and that was all that existed to me. I didn't think about the other stuff, but Fox Kids was just like there, and I would just like I'd see like random bits of episodes like here and there.
Besides like the Marvel cartoons, I can't remember what was on like Fox Kids. Really, just some
Bobby's World and
it was also ABC, but nobody really watched it.
yeah, all I know about it. Yeah, well, ABC I remember for the Sonic cartoon, but
Recess, I think, also.
was that ABC?
I think so.
Oh, I thought that was Disney.
Disney, I think, bought it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So when they bought ABC, they owned everything.
And now, Ahsoka King is falling off your wall.
No one's gonna get that. X-Men.
He has lots of One Piece posters.
No, it's weird because I wasn't really huge on X-Men until Evolution came out, and that was in 2000.
Okay.
Yeah. I would say that I became really big on X-Men when X2, X-Men United came out.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Because I think I watched Evolution, but I hadn't even seen the first X-Men movie.
Yeah, because I think the first X-Men movie came out around when
2000.
Evolution was just premiering.
Yeah, I think like the X-Men movie came out, I think that, like early that summer season, like May or something like that. And I think they were working on Evolution, so they're like, oh, try to tie in some like the movie stuff in there.
Yeah.
Because you could tell it was there. Not like fully there, but you could, like some things that kind of trickled over, like, like Patrick Stewart-esque Professor X.
Yeah.
All that.
Which, whether or not that's accurate is, we'll get to that. But what about you? Did you see full episodes of the 90s cartoon much?
Sort of. I would always like catch little bits and pieces of it.
Okay.
But I never really watched like a full thing until way later. Mm-hmm. I think my intro though was related to the first cartoon.
Okay.
It was I had this I had a bunch of the action figures actually. I had like Wolverine toys and Magneto.
Yeah, you just had like random figures from like everything.
Yeah.
As a
It's
kid.
like,
I
oh,
remember.
this is shiny. I want it.
Cool. Why not? Yeah.
Yeah, I had like a toy Danger Room too. I don't know what happened.
Really?
To it. Yeah.
Oh, like a play
Had,
set?
Yeah, I had like trapdoors and shit.
Oh, that's
Awesome.
cool. Okay.
And I had a picture book, which I thought was like the coolest thing ever. It was like a semi like comic, like each page was like a panel.
Was it it wasn't like a coloring book or something?
No, it was like an actual like full color thing.
Oh, huh.
But it was just the first episode of the cartoon. In, like, picture book form.
like an animanga type thing or whatever.
Not screen caps, like actual
okay.
drawings that were like look like they're watercolored almost.
Oh, huh.
It was really bad.
Does anybody? If you had that, leave a comment because I'm actually curious.
It's
what
like
the
as
hell
corny
that
as
even
that
is.
first episode is, which is I think still probably the only episode I've seen.
Of the 90s
To this
series.
day?
Fully. I mean, I've seen lots of bits and pieces.
Yeah.
But like as corny as that first episode is, the book dials it up like another 10.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, wasn't because I remember
Morph
like
died.
Yeah, there's like a 2-page spread of just Gene's face going, Morph is dead.
Oh God! Yeah, 'cause I remember you showed me that. One thing before we go any further, are any of us actually going to talk about any of the X-Men comics? I'll tell you right now, I've not read a single.
I have not either.
I've seen the
unfortunately.
X-Men in things. I've had friends who've worked on X-Men.
The only comic stuff that I've seen technically, and even then it was a motion comic, was I saw bits of the Astonishing X-Men.
Yeah.
Because the motion comic for it was done in New York with a lot of the 4Kids guys. And it was pretty cool. I saw like most of it. I was like, this is neat, but unfortunately I've not read any X-Men comics, so I'm kind of a
I
pleb on
never
that.
read X-Men because I wouldn't know where to begin.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know.
I mean, that's mainstream comics.
Yeah.
It's not like Batman where it's like, oh, go read Year One or Long Halloween or something like
I'm
that.
sure
or
there's
Dark Knight
probably-
Returns. Yeah, I don't know.
There's probably like, I mean, if Xander or Drake were here, they could tell. Oh, but like this miniseries or whatever. I'm sure.
So some like comic fans would probably think of it as posers, but
Well,
at this point, with how big Marvel movies are, okay, you hang out there on your podium.
Well, at the same time, I think a lot of people, specifically with the X-Men, because X-Men is arguably like maybe even the most like worldwide known comic series, like possibly of all time. like all around the world, really.
Like just like character wise, yeah, I'd say that, or like Spider-Man, or no, I think if we're just talking Marvel, because if we're talking comics in general, that unfortunately is like Batman.
Yeah, I mean, like, well, in terms of an iconic character, like there's other ones that have it beat, but as a comic series, I think X-Men is like the most like around the world, like known as just like people reading it, as far as I know. But either way, I mean, I also just like it is a franchise. I mean, like I think that it's pretty fair that a lot of people do know it mainly from the cartoons, from maybe even some of the video games, because there's a whole shit ton of them.
Marvel vs. Capcom 2 was pretty big.
Stars and Stripes.
Well,
I couldn't tell you anything about Psylocke other than things about her in that video game.
Yeah,
I don't know a single thing about her.
Yeah, she's Olivia Munn.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to see her when we see it. When we see it, Apocalypse.
You hear her say like 2 lines.
Hopefully not.
And then he gets stabbed. No.
Yeah,
probably.
Well, she was in X. She was in X3 technically as just like I'm here too.
Yeah,
I guess. Yeah. But yeah, no, I think like X-Men is one of those series where I think even like the most hardcore fans would understand people who are just into it for the animated series and shit. And that's what we're mainly talking about.
By the way, we weren't spoiling the movie. It's not out yet.
No, we haven't seen it yet. So we're going to be seeing it.
Someone's getting stabbed.
I can only hope. On
morph. Stab.
Please put morph in Apocalypse. For the love of God.
That is a spoiler.
The 90s cartoon I saw bits and pieces of. I never knew who anybody was. I was like, oh, guy with Gambit, guy with trench coat and pole. Oh, Southern girl, angry guy with yellow outfit. Black chick with the white hair and weather powers. I never knew anybody's name.
Growing up, I knew who Wolverine. I knew who Professor
Not even Wolverine.
I knew like Magneto. I knew Cyclops, Rogue. Like I pretty much knew the main cast, but I never watched the show.
Yeah,
I really liked Rogue as a kid.
So,
yeah,
she's fucking awesome.
She's the best.
I do like Rogue. Definitely Rogue is one of my favorites.
Just like in every version, Rogue's usually very good.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But I didn't grow up with it, so it doesn't have that special nostalgic place in my heart.
Yeah,
and when I tried. I'm like, oh, let me watch it. I was like in college and I watched the first season. I don't even know if I got through the first season because it was just.
See, and I feel
at that point I saw Evolution. I saw Wolverine, the X-Men.
That's the thing is like, okay, so Mark Swint, who I've had on the show before, he is always like, dude, you gotta watch the 90s cartoon because specifically because from what he's told me, it's the only animated X-Men series that has ever done straight up adaptations of stories from the comics. Yeah. And because as much as I love Evolution and Wolverine and the X-Men, and even the fucking Pride pilot we just watched for what it is, the other shows never did that. They just did their own spins on this, which I appreciate.
No, they do direct adaptations from the comic at breakneck speed.
Mm-hmm.
Like an episode, hi, I'm Angel, and then by the end of the episode, it's like, hi, I'm Archangel. Sorry, I'm like jumping around a little bit, but I thought like, oh man, Wolverine, and then again, this is like decades later, but
sure.
Like, Wolverine X-Men did such a good job building up to that, and then I watched the 90s series. I'm like, who the fuck is Angel? Well, he's a bad guy now.
See, and I feel like such a douchebag because we were just joking about this when we finished watching it, and I was thinking this ahead of time. The Pride of the X-Men, which for those of you who have never seen that, please look that up. Pride of the X-Men, spelt like Kitty Pryde, was a pilot, and I can't remember the story of what happened, but I think it was like funded by some companies, and then like it was going to be the series, and then it got canceled, or so. I don't know what happened with it, but there was one episode. It's also what the infamous 6-player arcade game is visually based on, with the famous Colossus yell that has echoed through the halls of MagFest for years. The whoa thing.
Don't forget Dazzler.
And don't forget X-Men. Welcome to die is also where that came from.
Peek that on.
Sorry, everybody. But Wolverine and the Pride of the X-Men. I did it. We watched that, and it's super fucking dated and really cheesy.
Camp.
And yet, I feel like if that was the show that got picked up that I saw as a kid instead of the 90s cartoon, I feel like that one I totally would have been into.
Well, Kid Pride's a much better character than Jubilee.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I'm sure Jubilee's probably cooler in other interpretations.
Jubilee is so Burger King Kids Club.
I don't know if this is
true. I skateboard after class. Like that kind of shit.
I think Jubilee might have been made for the cartoon.
No. I think she was in the comics. I'm pretty sure.
Look that up.
Okay. I mean, well, that's the thing. I mean, like, with every series, it's clear that they pick, like, a character like that to be, like, the relatable, like because in that pilot, Kitty was that character. Mm-hmm. Evolution, I mean, and you can even see in Evolution, like maybe in a way she was kind of that character, her and like Kurt, like the younger kid, because they were the younger kids and the older, like the seniors and everything. And then in Wolverine and the X-Men, they had like Iceman and Kitty again, like
not Jubilee was in the comics first.
Okay, yeah, that's what I figured. Yeah, so Jubilee, they just thought, she would make like a cute, like plucky, like kid relatable character or something, maybe. But
I can't get into the '90s series, and I'm sure like. Stuff that I watched when I was younger, if I hadn't seen it when I was a kid and tried to watch it now, I'd probably say the same things.
Yeah.
But at least it's probably one of the better looking Marvel cartoons, because I was never crazy with how the Spider-Man cartoon looked.
Yeah, Ben and I were talking about everybody looks like fucking He-Man with like big stocky.
Everyone's buff, even Aunt May.
Yeah.
Has that Madam Web shit, or something, whatever.
I remember that.
And, the Windows 95 CG New York City. No, the animation was always kind of like, bleh. Like they looked like it cut corners. There was missing frames while fucking Batman was looking gorgeous.
Yeah, I mean Warner Brothers definitely like they were always on top when it came to animation stuff for sure. I see. I'll say this much. Even though like I used to be like, oh fucking whatever, the '90s X-Men cartoon. Now I don't have any disdain for it because I'm sure it is technically a good series. And I feel bad that I'm not like interested. Like, oh man, I really need like a marathon, like all like however many seasons of that because it went on for a while. I think, didn't it? Like
a few seasons.
Yeah, it was like 3 or 4, I think, at least. I don't know. Maybe someday. Maybe actually, no. I'll say this even ahead of time. If you guys have like recommendations for like specific episodes or like arcs or whatever that are worth watching, let me know because maybe I'll even check those out at some point.
Maybe gives us some of the classic things like Wolverine touching his photo with Jean. Like, because it just turns shit up to 11 sometimes in that series of just Wolverine making it painfully obvious he has a thing for Jean.
It was interesting because even though at the time that I saw it, I did not know who anybody was. In fact, I remember a kid that you and I, Mike, went to school with, like that I knew from like kindergarten. I went to his house and he had a Genesis and he had some kind of X-Men like side-scrolling like beat-em-up game or something.
That, I think.
Or no, maybe it wasn't a beat-em-up. I think it was a platformer, but it was an X-Men Genesis game.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
One of the 700. And I remember like the only character I recognized was Wolverine, and I still didn't even know what his name was.
I think like I played that like once, and I still wasn't very familiar with X-Men.
Yeah, same.
Maybe I was playing as Nightcrawler. I couldn't even tell you.
But I remember that, and then but by the time that the first movie and then X-Men Evolution came out, I was familiar enough then with who Cyclops was, who Wolverine was, who Professor X was, etc. That then when Evolution started, it was like, okay, I get kind of like it reminds me of when I was watching the Tenchi series on cartoon on Toonami because like I saw like bits of Tenchi Muyo and Tenchi Universe, and then by the time Tenchi in Tokyo started, I was like, okay, now I know who everybody is, so now I can get into this new series and be like, okay,
this
now
is a sequel, right? Wrong.
Whoops. Yeah. And of course, it's the show that everybody says is the worst of the three, so whoops. But and some people say that. I mean, still, I know some people who say that X-Men Evolution is like
the
dumbed down
is next week.
Huh?
The Tenchi Kirblog is next week.
Yes, yeah. While we're at Fanime, totally. Some people still say that Evolution is like the dumbed down, like kiddie version of the '90s cartoon. Yeah, X-Men Evolution. I don't care what the fuck you tell me. X-Men Evolution was a solid series. I love that show.
My first introduction was Toy Fair magazine when they were showing the new toys that were going to come out later that year for Evolution. At the time, I didn't know Logan and Wolverine were the same characters.
Whoops.
I'm like, who's this cowboy looking guy?
Oh, like out of the outfit?
Because like there was a Logan figure that came with like a motorcycle. But that was my first, because I was always getting Toy Fair magazine every now and then, and kind of that's how I learned a lot about comics was through that magazine.
Right.
Just seeing all these characters all the time. So by then, I knew them, and then like I said, I was a kids WB guy, so. I watched Evolution. Yeah. And I really, really like Evolution.
Yeah.
And anyone that that grew up in the 90s series probably hates me for saying that. Shouldn't focus too much on the negativity. But I mean,
we're sorry, guys.
There's so many things I like about Evolution. And yeah, Evolution's littered with problems, but I like it for so many things. Like, Stephen E. Gordon's like one of my inspirations with his character designs for that series.
Oh, yeah.
I love his stuff.
Xander met him recently.
He lives out here.
Yeah, like he was at some art show that happened recently, and he was there, and I was like, oh my god, yeah, I would have loved to meet him because his versions of those characters look great.
Yeah, they're some of my favorite designs.
Yeah.
Like I think as much as I like Gambit's like 90 design, like I love the subtlety of like his evolution design.
Oh yeah.
Because one thing I don't like about the 90s is like the X-Men were hardly kind of like in uniform. They all had like different colored outfits. What I kind of liked about Evolution is kind of reintroduced, like, well, maybe in like later seasons when they brought in like the next class coming up.
The kids.
But I kind of like them like, oh, they all look like they're part of the same team. I mean, well, like Nightcrawler and Cyclops and Jean all had, and Kitty all had different colors and stuff.
Yeah.
But it kind of was like the thematic, like black and yellow.
Yeah, it was a nice cross between like the black leather type shit that they went with in the movie, but still having like some cool colors and everything too. It worked really.
And
nice.
I did like the orange and black Wolverine. I thought that was
yeah, for sure.
It's way better.
Yeah. That's
you like that.
I mean,
I never liked the yellow. And
I like the yellow and blue too, but.
That color scheme I feel like works a little bit better. You could take it a little bit more seriously because like bright yellow with him is it's just so like ow my eyes, ow stop please.
Yeah, there's a lot less yellow in Evolution. No, I really love some of the character designs. Like I think like later when like characters like Colossus get introduced.
Yeah.
I love those designs to death. And something like Evolution, it's late 90s, early 2000s cheese.
But still, it took itself seriously enough that like and like the direction and the cinematography
it made fun of itself enough, and then took it but it could still take itself seriously if it needed to. It was a good balance. Like the first season is the weakest. It's the most kind of
we talked about season 4 earlier today.
Yeah, it's a rush. But season 1 did have like, oh, Spike, you're not doing so good in this class. Why don't you make a video film?
Yeah, I mean, there's always
like 20 episodes like that.
Yeah, like once in a while.
And like Spike is kind of just like, hey, kids find that Cisco guy cool.
I don't know. Spike, I feel like, I don't know. I
wasn't that crazy about Spike.
No, but you know what? I also didn't hate him. Like I don't
loathe him. I just don't care.
Yeah, you know what? Actually,
like when he left the team, like spoilers if you haven't seen.
Well,
X-Men Evolution's free on like every video streaming service imaginable. Watch it already.
Actually, no.
When he left the team, I was like, I didn't notice you were gone.
Now I'm realizing, no, you know what? Spike, I think, actually was like the equivalent of what Jubilee was. Where he was like the relatable like kid kind of character, and I totally got like that. I mean, he made sense and he served that purpose well, and he did have some cool stuff. I liked the Morlock tie-in and everything because that was like a cool, like different kind of direction to go with them. I felt,
yeah, like they did a decent thing
because that was like kind of a risky thing. I feel like to go that kind of route with him in the first place, and I was like, okay, I can appreciate.
I will say this also, like Evolution easily has my favorite Cyclops.
Yes, 100%.
That is the animated series. I'll say, or it's like I'll say,
only like that obnoxious one
in the cartoons. Yeah,
well, like in the first one, he's just like just white meat good guy.
It's not super interesting.
No,
but at least he's an asshole like in fucking Wolverine.
In the X-Men, he's. Well, it pretty much he realized like no one likes me. Everyone likes Wolverine. In both in the canon and beyond the fourth wall.
Yeah.
He's like, no one likes me. I love Cyclops in Evolution because he's actually like, he's a decent guy. He's not like all cool and stuff. Like, I'm the cool. Like, he's not the one riding his fucking skateboard to work though. He does drive a convertible.
Yeah, he's so proud.
But
of that,
like, he's a lot more like I wouldn't even say he's level-headed. He's a good leader.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't say he's charismatic or anything, but he's just like he's got a good head on his shoulders.
He's the Boy Scout kind of guy.
He's a Boy Scout that has a temper. It's like he probably one of the more relatable characters in that show. I think he's my favorite version of Cyclops. Like I could get behind him. As
one of my favorite episodes is the one where Mystique, like in vengeance of him, just like puts him in the middle of fucking nowhere in like Mexico. Yeah. I think and he's just like lost to his device. He can't open his eyes. And I'm like, oh my god, it's such a good story with him. Like. In just that one little set of 22 minutes, it's like Jesus Christ.
I always like kind of root for him because actually he's a pretty cool guy. It's like he's very nice. He's like decent dude, but like he's not he isn't getting the girls. You know, he hasn't gotten Jean, so I'm kind of rooting for him. If I ever Flash Thompson asshole.
Oh, yeah, Duncan. Fucking
another thing. At that point, like 2000, I was really getting into you know, Dragon Ball Z. I was watching Toonami, so I was watching Gundam Wing and all that. And for X-Men Evolution to have that
Kirby Morrow.
that Vancouver
voice
cast, it was just like, yes, these people are in all the cartoons I like.
You know, Brian Drummond was also, he was almost Scott in that show, I found out. Yeah, and then I think at the last second they went with Kirby, which no offense to Brian Drummond, but...
Yeah, I love Kirby Morrow.
That's like one of his performances.
I love everyone in the show. Like, I said, like, Scott McNeil's my favorite voice.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say.
And Steve
Bloom's amazing. Really Cal Dodd is great, too, in the 90s cartoon, but Scott McNeil, man, just that...
Yeah, like...
Oh, God, I love it.
Like, Steve Bloom doesn't quite get that growl.
It's just different. Growl. It's just a different kind of thing, and Scott very much...
Scott McNeil, that's like... I hate to use the voice of my childhood, but like back then when I was a kid and like if I wanted to make a cartoon, I'm like, I want Scott McNeil to voice somebody.
Oh yeah, I think a lot of people at that time for sure.
So for him to voice Wolverine was
it's funny because I remember when the first episode happened, and again, this was back when I didn't know shit about voiceover yet, but he comes in at the end when like Toad is like running away from the guys or everything, and he like comes in and says, "Oh, Logan, it's good to see you again." Professor X is there, and Wolverine talks, and for a second I thought, oh, did they get the guy from the 90s cartoon back again? And then I listened to the two of them side by side, and it's completely like night and day.
But I used to think, because people just, there's no different studio.
Yeah. No, I just he just got the spirit of the character perfectly, and just that whole like, don't make me go Canadian on your ass, bub, and all that shit. So good.
It's about time.
It's about time. Because
that might have been where I stole that from for Tome, for all I know.
I was rewatching Evolution a lot in college.
Weren't we all?
That was like Disney XD was just playing it. And
were they?
Yeah, they were playing a lot, and then they stopped playing a little bit.
Every channel.
So if it was if it was on at 1 a.m., I'm like, we have to stay up till 1 a.m. because I want to watch Evolution. I don't care what episode it is, even if it's the shitty Spike episode with him making this video.
Speaking of Spike, I know he definitely was made for the show.
Yes, he was.
He's a combination of like Bishop and Marrow.
Yeah, a little bit.
They wanted Bishop, but he's too old. So.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think they also were talking about Iceman, but then they saved him for the second season and made him one of the second generation guys. Yeah,
and like he was like the only kid to actually put on like the action team.
Well, I think because they just did an episode of like the last season where they had the original 5 characters from like the very first comic, and he's like, "What a dream team this is!" Well, I mean, Francis.
Like, shut up, Bobby.
And now I've had him in my show.
And I always remember Scott's line, "Shut up, Paul." I have way too many running gags because I just enjoyed it even more when I was older because I'm like, because now I can make fun of like its campiness or just, like its awkwardness.
We had a running gag for a while with Wolverine in the X-Men.
Oh, with Carl?
Yeah. The dude in like the first episode who like rats them out when Wolverine like saves the kid.
Yeah.
Carl's just the dick neighbor.
I was like, did you call the police, Carl?
Did Carl tell you that? Damn that Carl.
There's like a shot of Carl too where it's like a zoom in just like menacing fat guy eyes.
Our favorite disgruntled landlord.
Diminished.
It's my
Carl,
favorite.
leave us alone, Carl. Damn that Carl.
Best X-Men character.
And then when the SWAT team just busts in, Carl's running with it. Like, he's in here somewhere. Had so many running gags going at that point.
He was there when they raided it. He was like pointing at the house, going, "They're in there."
Yeah.
Carl must have like a fucking like X-Men wiki article somewhere. I swear to God.
No, if he doesn't, I'll write it. So.
Please do. What do you have to say about X-Men Evolution?
It's a good show.
Good. I mean, do you remember much about? Because we were in middle school, high school when that was airing.
Yeah, I mean, I've watched it a couple times by now.
But I mean, like, well, do you remember anything like from when it was new and it was airing, like at the time, like anything particular that sticks out? I remember when the Cauldron, the 2-part season 1 finale was like because every time there was like a 2-part or 3-part thing with any show on Kids WB every Saturday, they had like a big like cool ad for like the whatever like the Yu-Gi-Oh duels. They'd have like the Call of the Haunted, the 2-part special battle against Bones or whatever. But like the Cauldron was the first time they did that with X-Men Evolution, and it was like, oh, this is why is their hair white all of a sudden? What's happening?
Buff?
Shit.
I think at this point this was like season 4. This is when I wasn't really watching the series too much. I think also because I was never around when it was on. Because it was during the summer and I caught an episode early morning, and that's when I discovered that Wolverine fought in World War II.
Oh yeah,
Captain
yeah.
America.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, whoa.
Yeah, they set that one up and didn't go anywhere with it.
No, well, they had like the one thing with Hydra later, and then like Red Omega and all that. But that was like just the one. Episode.
I appreciate all these cartoons way more now. Like maybe the later ones because they tie in a lot more stuff outside of like just like X-Men comics and like later series.
That's another thing Evolution did. They created X-23.
That's right. Yeah.
I didn't even realize that till like recently.
And she's been in the comics now.
Yeah, she's.
as well.
I think she's Wolverine now.
Like just is Wolverine.
Yeah.
Oh, that's kind of interesting. Okay.
I'm gonna double check that. Also,
Do that.
in case I'm wrong.
Wikipedia.
Oh, it's like
Look up Carl while you're at it.
Evolution is like there's so many of the interpretation of the characters I love in that. Like I love Rogue to
Oh yeah,
death in
yeah.
that
She
series.
had a great arc in that. I know, which I was completely different from any other interpretation from her because apparently, like in the comics, she's been with like Magneto before. Like they've been the thing apparently, and like I mean, in the movie, she was like into Logan. I think she had kind of a thing for him, and I think that her and Bobby is the more traditional thing.
Well, Gambit, her and Gambit.
Well, that was the '90s cartoon. I see. That's the thing. I don't know if it's like I don't know what like the typical like Rogue like relationship.
Well,
is,
and I mean, I liked her look. Like she had the goth punk rock kind of
and the chin cleft.
Well, the thing is, no, like she's. I didn't say she's a big girl, but she's more
pretty.
She's more broad.
Yeah.
Trust me, I've looked at Stephen E. Gordon's site plenty of times back in the day.
X-23 is Wolverine now in the comic.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
So I think
okay.
Wolverine's like an old man now because like
Didn't he die?
Maybe, but I think he lost his healing powers.
I think he like actually like died like
Everyone
for
does. Yeah, there was a comic called Death of Wolverine. Shit like that, or something like that. I don't read the comics. I'm sorry.
Shrug.
No, it's I love Rogue Side. It's my favorite version of Kitty Pryde too, and that.
Oh my god.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Like you already have like Jean as like the
prep
straight A's
girl.
prep student.
Yeah.
You know, and then you have freaking if you go by freaking Breakfast Club like archetypes, and of course Rogue is the basket case. So it's Kitty. You can't have her be like the smart ass, prep. Not smart ass. I'm sorry, like really smart prep, because that's already Jean. So make her the freaking Valley Girl, and I think it's hilarious. Like her interactions with characters like Kurt and Logan are.
And Avalanche, the kid version of Avalanche was like kind of cute. Oh my God. As if Lance would
Hey
ever.
kid, check this out.
Hey,
What are
kid.
you having a seizure? Get away from me!
They play that one bit of music that's like specific to him.
Yeah, like when he's doing
My favorite is T O A
T. Hey man, what's going on, man? That Toad.
Hey man, you got some.
So it's like the one character Xavier ever gives up on.
Yeah.
See, the first episode they try to recruit him, and he's just like, no,
no. If he wants to come back, we'll let him. But whatever. Yeah.
the blob. Get the blob.
I got to tell you, my first introduction of like knowing what the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants is as the fucking rundown shack with all the bad guys. Like, that's fucking hilarious to me. And then Mystique is like, there's like, all right, you stupid kids, get back in line, that kind of thing.
And it also seems like really shitty fan fiction about, it's, some of the X-Men, they're in high school, and Mystique and
is the principal.
And Senator Kelly are the
principal Kelly,
and I'm like,
but it works.
That sounds so stupid out of context, but it's really great in that series. And I never refer to him as Principal Kelly. I always refer to him
eventually, I think he does become a senator.
Well, I think he was running for office like towards the end of the show. Yeah,
because they were like out of high school. Though.
Yeah,
I always refer to him as Principal Senator Kelly.
Well, because that's the thing. I mean, this is a little off topic, but it's worth bringing up. Whenever I see people coming up with like AUs for like if it's like their own ideas or like for
gender
other
swaps.
Right, no, I'm like
sorry, that's like the go-to.
Sure, yeah,
high school.
Yeah, but like that's the thing.
That looked like shit. Can I? Like, I don't even know if that was
a funny idea.
Like, sorry,
the Tumblr.
Sorry to go off
idea.
topic. This was like before the days of Tumblr, where people said this was like a legit pitch, and it really just looks like fan art to me. But apparently, they're trying to pitch a Batman in high school series where it's like,
I've seen like a few different fan versions of that.
Yeah,
well,
I think the idea is funny, but
the idea is funny. But that's the thing, though. I don't think it would have been done like that. Like, how stupid is this? Like, let's try to take this like kind of seriously. I'm like, this is stupid. But
I think that's why a lot of people didn't. Yeah,
X-Men Evolution isn't X-Men go to high school. It's more like let's change up the ages a little bit. I think it works.
Well, because it was cool because like you had the actually older characters that were like the teachers at the Xavier Institute.
It's kind of weird that Logan is a mentor.
Yeah, no, but like that him is like like kind of authority figure, and then Storm was great in that position, and Beast I love in that show. It was awesome.
Love that version of Beast.
So tragic and like that was another great. His introductory episode was fucking fantastic.
Well, has another character that's my favorite version of X-Men Evolution. Pietro.
What?
Okay, it's Richard fucking Inuyasha Cox as freaking quick.
What are you doing there, buddy?
Hey. Oh, it's the fucking best.
Like my costume? Took me 2 seconds.
And he's got the freaking Static Shock. I tuck my t-shirt in my boxers.
Oh, yeah.
Which, was that ever a thing?
Oh, yeah. No, everybody at our school was doing that shit.
Oh, my God.
Seriously.
I never saw anybody do that. But then again, white guy.
Well, Pietro was extremely white, too.
Oh, yeah. He wore a freaking size extra small shirt to make sure he could stuff that in his boxers.
Lord Almighty.
I fucking love Quicksilver and that. Well, like I'm not like it's not my favorite Scarlet Witch, but I really like the different interpretation. Of
she was very interesting in that show.
Very, it's like very early 2000s, which honestly. That's what kind of like the live action Scarlet Witch in the Marvel movies kind of resembles that. Not entirely, but like an outfit wise.
Yeah, well, she's a little less like insane because like the Evolution Scarlet Witch was fucked up, like genuinely, and which worked for that story. But and not to say that like the Maximoff twins and like. The Marvel Cinematic Universe stuff weren't. They had a pretty fucked up backstory too, but like they were still pretty like lighthearted together and everything, and pretty normal. But like, Scarlet Witch in Evolution was really cool. I liked her. Was that season 2? I think she came in, right? Maybe 3.
Season 2.
Okay,
I so.
I wasn't really too happy with what they wound up doing with her. Like,
they
drop her mind, and she just becomes like an obedient servant. And it was like, God damn it.
I mean,
there goes that whole story arc.
I mean, I feel like there was something like they were kind of like going to lead up to it. That I don't know if they ever did execute it or whatever. It's just kind of like whatever. Maybe it might have been just like, this is easier or whatever.
Now, well, if you remember what happens at the end of the series when they kind of like the flash forward.
Oh, we'll get to that. I'm trying to think of some other stuff from when it was airing. Actually, on the note of the 4th season with a lot of the annoying filler episodes, I've told the story on many Kirblogs about when Mike and I were at like the beach house in Jersey on vacation.
Hey, Cajun Spice is a great episode.
Let's not.
That's season 3. I think that's season 3.
No, wasn't that 4?
That might have been.
I'm pretty sure it was 4. It seemed like a 4 episode, but
I like Gambit and Evolution. Okay,
I do too.
I know he's like the Poochie of X-Men.
But we were away, and it was when like Mega Man NT Warrior premiered. Because speaking of earlier, the bit about like you choose which Saturday morning block, Fox Box and Kids WB were airing at the same time, and I was having to flip back and forth watching like shit. I have to watch Sonic X and Mega Man NT Warrior at the same time. Crap, and all the things happening on both channels.
Yeah, I think you should have just watched Mega Man.
I should have,
because you would have plenty of fucking chances to watch Sonic.
Oh yeah, and also Mega Man was better. So fight me, internet. I forget what was on at the same time as X-Men Evolution that weekend.
I think Evolution was like...
It was like 10:30.
10:30,
it was just after
11:30.
Yeah, it was one of the later ones in the block. But it was the episode where they're on the cruise ship and they go to the island and Magma has to like stop the volcano from going off or whatever. And I never saw that episode in full until like a million years later when I re-marathoned the whole show front to back. Yeah. And I was like, oh, this is the one when we were at the vacation. Wow, this episode sucks ball. I was like...
So that's season 4 one? It's been some years since I've watched Evolution. I should really...
I don't hate season 4, but I don't hate season 1 either. Like, even like the filler episodes don't bother me. Like they're fine. They're for developing the gang and everything, and that's totally okay.
But the middle of the series was like so good.
And also I was going to say before about like just the excitement of like what comes from like an AU about a high school type setting. Because I remember actually, I think I never forgot this. In high school, I think I was even telling you, Mike, about like, God, why do everybody always want to make stuff with schools? And I think you were just like, well, because it makes for a lot of interesting stories you can tell as a setting. And I was like, yeah, actually, that's true.
At the time, coming out of school, it's like it's the only world we knew.
Yeah. Well, what I was going to say before, too, the different tiers of the character, we have, like, you know, the big authority figures like Professor X and Mystique as, like, the head of the bad guys, and Magneto above her, and then Kelly and all that. And then you have, like, the teachers in terms of, like, Hank and Logan and Aurora, and then you have the older kids who have their shit a little bit more figured out, Scott and Jean and all them, and then you have the younger kids who are the troublemakers and figure themselves out, and then another set of those after that are kind of all intertwining together and everything, and like, and they had enough time to develop all of them and give them all like a good number of episodes to like do shit with and everything. Some of the kids from the second season were just kind of like, all of them were kind of like, as a gang, were sort of one character often.
They never...
Doug girl.
Yeah,
I like
Didn't she leave?
Yeah, well, a lot of them left for like plot reasons because of like...
After they became public.
Yeah,
a lot of the kids got like taken out of the school.
Yeah. And Ronnie did too. Maybe Berserk did as well. Yeah, but
like I only like of all the kids that kind of came out of that class, the only ones I remember like actually having any character were Bobby to an extent.
Yeah,
Bobby was just kind of around. Bobby was just started to be included.
Yeah,
but Boom Boom is the only other one.
Boom, oh my god,
she's great.
White trash girl that you would so want to get with though.
She looks like the sister from that '70s.
She
show.
does, yeah. That's like a lot of
that's a good the Boom Boom episode at the carnival with her douchebag. That's a great.
Who looks
one.
a lot like Carl.
Huh? Oh my god. maybe that was Evolution's Carl. I don't know.
No, it's
Actually, her design was like pretty much the same in Wolverine and the X-Men.
Yeah, like the same haircut and everything, and then her and Kurt, it was so cute. And then her as like
she almost killed him.
Well, she almost killed everybody like 10 times. No, her and the Brotherhood later when she kind of shattered up with them. That's pretty funny. It was like there's a lot of good like combinations of character dynamics and everything with all of them, and that show's like all throughout.
Yeah, I think they did a really good job with those characters. Like, it made me care about those characters.
Oh, you know what? Amara, like, I mean, not the most interesting, but like she was kind of cool. Like Magma, like when she got to do more stuff.
I can't remember those other kids.
Well, yeah, because I mean, most of them didn't get multiple man kid version of him. Which Xander has told me no animated series or movie has ever done a proper version of multiple man. Apparently, and I'm like, oh, because apparently he's a really cool character, and they've just not done much with him.
Billy numerous.
Let's not. Teen Titans podcast next week, guys. Right after the Tenchi Muyo one.
They bring that one back.
Other episodes, characters, moments from that show you guys remember from Evolution? Other like obvious episodes.
Like, it's been a while, so like I can't think of like
the Angel episode as a Christmas episode is also one of my favorites.
That's another dynamic I love. I love Scott and Rogue's dynamic with each other.
Yeah.
Rogue kind of like starts to like crush on him, and she knows it's like never gonna work out. Yeah. Oh man. A lot of good pairings. Like, and I don't mean pairings like, I ship them.
I do.
Like putting two characters together. Like, that show did a really good job of getting me to care about this.
It might have been the only episode they were in New York City also.
Oh, was it? When they go to see Angel?
Yeah, because that was in New York City.
I feel didn't they go there another time at some point?
Not that I can remember. Okay. But I know the exact location they were in was by Rockefeller Center.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, which is funny because even like in Spectacular Spider-Man, which I just was talking about with Ben, like I know where that is, or this is here, etc., which is kind of cool. But isn't Professor X's school like in New York?
Yeah,
it's in New York.
Just thought about that. Right. Okay, so they were in like fucking like Albany or Rochester or something.
Far, I don't think.
Rochester's really far. I don't think it's that far.
I've been there once.
Albany's like a couple hours. I know it's somewhere up there. I don't know.
Okay.
You've been looking things up on
I
just feel like the majority of this has been like, let's talk about the 90s series of Team Red. Okay, X-Men Evolution.
What other? I'm trying to think of. There's probably some other like obvious episode. Arcade, when the party happens at the manor, and Arcade and Mystique in disguise as the British chick are fucking around with them in the danger room, thinking it's a video game. And that's a good one. Oh god, what are some? I feel like there's just like some obvious one I'm going to forget that I should be mentioning.
It's a good show.
Yeah, just overall, watch it. Oh yeah,
I
I
remember the storylines more than I do the episodes.
Yeah,
I mean, kind of later in the series, that's how it is. But I kind of do like just like the non like the one with when they go on the field trip. You know, when Rogue kind of officially joins the X-Men in season 1, when Sheik's like, "I'm gonna turn a wolf and eat you guys." I love that episode. That also has
So you're part of the team? Are you gonna push me off the plane? No.
Okay, I'm with you.
That also has one.
Oh yeah, in the snowstorm. That's right. I forgot.
Things are gonna like throw her out. It's just like they're like, no, we're not gonna do that.
Also has one of my favorite lines. Shut up, Paul. I love that series of death. I really do. And
it's on everything you said, right? You can just find it.
I know. Like I think it's for free on YouTube.
Yeah.
Like,
officially. Yeah. Go find it.
Because it's never really had
YouTube.
It had like a DVD release, but season 4 never got released.
One thing I did want to say, even though season 4 is not amazing consistently, I did like the Apocalypse shit and that a lot. That was really cool.
Love Apocalypse design, and then when he kind of turned into Mega Man, I was like,
yeah.
I thought like, oh yeah, Egyptian shit, because he's a fucking Egyptian. He should look like that. And he's like, nope. Now I'm the big blue robot.
Well, it was just really cool because I mean, like there were
Sigma.
What? Well, I mean that's his typical design. Also, Sid was probably fucking based on him, for Christ's sake. Like, you know, shit would get real pretty often, like throughout the entire series, but like when Apocalypse was like when like the really world threatening, like seriously kind of stuff like that was happening
with Charles Xavier's bastard son with the split personality.
Oh yeah, I see. Terrible. That's one of those things I felt like if they had gotten to do more, that would have been like a big thing after that. That said, though, at the very least, I will say too, the ending that it got, I'm pretty satisfied with. Yeah, I mean, like the little reel at the end where they show, oh, this is what will be in the future, mayhaps, was like that might have even been because, like, all right, we know we're not going to get to do any more of this.
Well, it's cool to think about. Like, I don't necessarily like, oh, I want to see that series. I'm like, no, it's cool to be like, oh, it's like this is what it would look like. Let's do Apocalypse. Like, what's it gonna do?
Well, that's the funny thing is now going into Wolverine and the X-Men, which we can talk about now.
Good transition. I think it's time.
Yeah. Bottom line, watch X-Men Evolution if you haven't. We love the shit out of that show. Wolverine and the X-Men, funnily enough, ends with, you know, they did the whole Phoenix storyline and that with Jean, and it ends with, oh, we're going to do Apocalypse next, canceled. As opposed to Evolution was like, we're going to end with Apocalypse, we're going to do Phoenix next, done. Yeah. So it's almost like you could watch Wolverine and the X-Men and pretend it's kind of like the sequel
Wolverine,
to
Evolution. People have said it's like the spiritual sequel.
Yeah, more. I mean, like, not 100% exactly.
I think
like
some of the same writers might have worked on it.
Yes,
I believe so. But I remember finally getting into that show.
Didn't it, like, premiere somewhere else before it came over here? Was it?
Oh, yeah. I think it was already airing, like, maybe, like, in Canada.
Maybe Australia or something. Because I was watching, totally not legally, episodes online in, like, first year of college when they were just, like, kind of popping out. Yeah. And I watched the first, like, 8 or 9 and then just, like, forgot about it and didn't watch the whole thing until I borrowed the box set from Mike, so...
It's, I finally got into it, marathoned a lot of it, and I really dug it.
Oh yeah, it's solid.
I think some of the problems though is I think I was so used to the characters getting like pretty fleshed out. It has a much bigger cast. Characters don't always get the character.
I would say it was like about the same level of cast as Evolution, but
I don't know. Maybe I just like I think I just wasn't attached to them the same way I was with the previous series.
Well, the thing...
the stuff like I thought, like I mentioned earlier on this, I think the whole story arc of Angel was fantastic.
Yeah,
the way they built to that, you know, I really liked Kurt in that episode. I think
Liam O'Brien was brilliant as both of them in that show.
I really enjoyed Nightcrawler in that series, and I don't even think he was in it that much.
He was fairly around a lot.
I remember
he had his own little story arc.
Yeah,
it was with him and Scarlet Witch.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I remember. See, no, because I remember them being a thing.
Being
a thing from the 90s.
Right. That's right. Was that a Genosha? I think, right? They got like the big city. It was.
Also had Polaris, I think her name.
Yes. Yeah.
And you know his other daughter,
which, by the way,
actually has his powers.
I was wrong. I think in Days of Future Past, the little girl in the scene with Peter Maximoff, and that was actually Polaris and not. Oh. Yeah, because I think they can't use Wanda technically in that. And I don't think they can in the movies. Whatever. Side note. The funny thing, off mic when we were first getting in here, we were talking about Young Justice and on some of the DC shows, and how a lot of the superhero based animated shows often come off the heels of whatever the newest live action movie is. Yeah. So Evolution was when the first X-Men movie came out.
Yeah.
Wolverine and the X-Men, I feel like, was off the heels of, okay, by this point, everybody fucking loves Wolverine because of Hugh Jackman's presence in all the movies. Yeah. And Wolverine Origin, I think wasn't that out by that point, or it was coming out, I think. Because I think we saw all three of the trilogy in high school. I think that 3 came out at the time, but we were still in high school at that time. But
I think Wolverine and the X-Men was already starting to air before Origins even came out.
Right, but by that point, Hugh Jackman and Wolverine was
shit,
he was the character, mainstream defining the X-Men by that point, more so than ever. Not that he wasn't kind of the front runner already, but so I think that them wanting to have it be oh, he's the leader, he's the main character of this show, and giving him the biggest forefront of the development was okay, this is cool, but in some ways, I mean, because Kitty and Bobby and a lot of the other characters in the team, they really didn't get to do a whole lot.
Like I said, I really liked Kitty in Evolution,
and she was cool in the show after, but she just didn't really get to do a whole lot.
Yeah, it wasn't the same.
And
Wolverine, it's cool to see a different interpretation of Wolverine, a more mature Logan kind of realizing his duty and trying to be a better man. Which it was a cool dynamic to say. I won't say oh no, it's got to be Scott leading, because it's no, it's just a different take. And I thought,
although Scott was fucking unbearable in that show, my God. I don't know what they were trying to go for with him in that show exactly.
Busted into his apartment. Why don't you get off your ass?
He's no, I have my 5 o'clock shadow. I'm mourning, and then I'm gonna fuck Emma later when she shows up. I was happy that she finally got to show up because they never did anything with her. I wonder why they never did anything with her in Evolution.
I still don't understand that character.
I mean, she's kind of cool.
She's a villain in some places. She's not a villain in other places.
She's an interesting anti-hero type character. Yeah.
I really like the look of the show. I really like the storyline.
Yeah, cool character designs. I don't know who the designer on that one was, but they were pretty solid designs too.
Tell you, I like the look of it. Just blue balls, man, because they were like, oh hey, we're gonna do Apocalypse
but again, even then, the ending it got where it ends with a conclusion to the Phoenix storyline.
They finally got to do Bishop. They finally got to use
They used a lot of the obscure characters, like Domino.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's
Luck
right.
Powers.
Yeah, I forgot about her. Yeah, she was the leader of the Morlocks. Not the Morlocks, the Brotherhood, I think, in that version, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Of that gang, yeah.
She was totally gay for Rogue.
And Rogue kind of adopting more of her 90s look.
Yeah, Rogue was kind of cool in that one. I like Evolution went a little more, but they still did some interesting stuff with her in Wolverine and the X-Men.
My problem, though, with the designs, if you think back to what I was saying earlier about some of the character designs in Evolution, all the girls look the same. They all have that blank...
And the lips and all that.
Deviant art. Here's a character model that has hair and clothes. There's still not bad designs, but I realized I'm Jean and...
It's in the faces,
Jean and Rogue had the same exact face.
Yeah.
But not even just that. I was looking at Stephen E. Gordon's designs, he said, Rogue is the tallest girl. She has the boldest shoulders. It's Kitty Pryde is really tiny, really skinny.
Short girly girl, and then Jean is the
Jean is the most
one.
The most it's she's got the most,
the most.
Actually, no, I don't want to get into that, but because the more I talk about it, the more it sounds creepy. But no, he was very, very meticulous about all the characters looking different, even when it came to the women, and I feel like that wasn't necessarily the case in Wolverine and the X-Men's designs. There were still cool designs, but like the girls are all shitty.
I think a lot of it, what it was, is like some of the faces. Like I think because even I'm thinking about it, the guys in the Wolverine series, a lot of them had like that kind of same like Lieutenant Surge like blocky kind of face thing.
But hey, I like Bruce Timm stuff. So.
Sure, yeah, and it's certainly I've seen far worse looking shows. They were still totally serviceable designs, and the stories were cool.
But yeah, it's like it's not quite the variation on character designs that I like so much with Evolution.
Yeah,
but, like it still like didn't stop me from liking the show.
It's still, it's a very. It was 26 episodes, I think, in total, right?
Yeah.
It's a solid,
it's a really great. That's a really great length for one season.
Yeah, especially because like it was like independently funded kind of, or like some weird kind of circle. Because I think like the reason why it stopped after those 2 seasons was like the benefactors like fell through or something like that. Because I think there was like some kind of like weird like secret independent funding or some shit like that.
I'm not sure exactly what happened.
I remember reading something like that about like what happened with this show. But yeah, it's just like. It was so quick, like because I think it was like 2008 or 7 or 8.
Like
I think
2000.
It was like mid 2000s, I think.
Yeah,
like, definitely by that point, the trilogy was done of the movies.
Oh yeah. That was in 2006. So.
See, I hate to say it too because now I want to go into like what like episodes or anything. For me, but it's hard.
I watched
to,
it once.
It's hard to remember stuff. I will say I did like the whole subplot of like Professor X being like stuck in the future and like the post-apocalyptic kind of thing and like that team and like Marrow.
I can say what the worst episode is.
What?
Oh yeah,
the Silver Samurai.
Let's go. Let's go to the Japan episode.
Yeah,
and even Batman animated series is guilty of having that.
Yeah.
Here's the ninja guy.
I mean, that said,
take
like
everyone down.
I liked the Wolverine, and I feel like that was a better. I mean, I'm sure like the story of Logan going to Japan and meeting Guriko and all that, like I'm sure is like a great classic story in the comics and stuff, and but I don't, and the one episode of it in the series was just kind of like meh.
Yeah.
But that aside, good memories, good episodes, good anything in particular.
It was all pretty solid.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's been a while since I
remind me, was not Doctor, was it Dr. Mr. Sinister? Was he a villain in that series? Was he the one who was responsible for Archangel?
Yeah, he makes
right.
Archangel.
My Archangel.
Yeah, no, it was Clancy Brown, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that shit was great.
It just reminded me, and it's kind of fun. It's coincidental because you're here. I remember the Hulk episode.
That's right. I forgot about that.
And I was disappointed though because no, wait, never mind. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of Evolution. They went with Samuel L. Jackson looking Nick Fury, and I was like, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, Bruce Banner looks a lot like you in that.
Me?
Yes.
Really?
Go back and watch that. He looks like you.
Oh.
Which I like that. I like Bruce Banner looking like...
Well, my hair's short, right? I think.
No, he's got the hair, like, you're kind of
longer?
Yeah, like...
Really?
Little,
it's been a long time,
like
yeah.
That.
Well, it's funny, because also, I think the Hulk versus... movies
is completely that's the thing. I was getting confused at one point because Hulk versus came out around the time.
I thought that they were part of that.
No,
were they not part of that continuity?
No, it's totally different. Even though I've never seen it, it's totally different.
Okay, that's strange. Well, no, you know what? Yeah, you're right because I think Sabretooth was in. Sabretooth was in the show. And then he was also in those movies, and he looked different. He had like the more like classic old school Sabretooth design and everything.
That was the first animated incarnation of Deadpool.
Yep.
First any non-comic interpretation of Deadpool.
Yeah.
Which was kind of like, I think what I heard was Ryan Reynolds like pointing at it's like that's how you have to do Deadpool. Like that guy did.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Mike has pulled up a picture of Bruce. Yeah, a little bit. He's got my fucking hoodie.
I like Bruce Banner looking a little scrawny and stuff because it's the polar opposite of Hulk.
I like the way that episode ends.
So I can't buy like Eric Bana.
Nick Fury has like Bruce Banner in custody, so Wolverine just like punches him to turn him into
that's right.
And then it ends with like Wolverine just like flying off into the distance because Hulk throws him. And he gets up, he's like, well, I'm done.
Doesn't he push him out of the helicopter or something at one point? I think it's something else.
I don't remember that.
But it was just one episode, right?
I forget if Hulk comes back in the series.
It was just one.
It was just the one episode.
One shot.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of like it's really just like a really random episode. Like, oh hey, Hulk's gonna be in this.
Yeah.
Like, that's one episode I do remember very well.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of cool because it's like I think about that with like in Evolution we had like, oh hey, Captain America was a character who existed, and maybe if they had gone further they would have done something with him at some point. And like. You know, and then I feel like in other series sometimes they kind of have like implication of like, oh, there is more beyond this and everything.
More so now than what it used to be because
well, now everything's together.
I didn't even know Marvel series crossed over until at one point when I was reading this looking at this big book of Marvel characters. I'm like, wait, it was Mr. Fantastic. I told Spider-Man he was wearing a symbiote. I'm like, they exist in the same universe?
Apparently, yeah.
Like, there wasn't so much, at least from what I remember with the animated series, there wasn't so much cross-promotion, but now it's like, even though I didn't really watch the series, like Ultimate Spider-Man, it's like, let's throw every Marvel character in here we can.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Ultimate Spider-Man, the Steve Blum version of Wolverine, I mean, not the Wolverine of the X-Men iteration, but like him, he shows up. Yeah. I think he's the only X-Men character that does show up in Ultimate Spider-Man.
Because because everyone loves Wolverine. It'd be weird to have. Here's Dazzler.
Why do you guys hate Dazzler so much?
I don't hate Dazzler. I find the name Dazzler to be absolutely ridiculous. Let's go Cyclops, Nightcrawler,
Dazzler,
Wolverine, Storm, Dazzler. I'm gonna shoot you.
Is that fucking
Red light that
VG Cats comic with
Dazzler?
There's a VG Cats comic about the Marvel Ultimate Alliance, I think. Or no, I think like the X-Men, one of the X-Men video games, like the later ones, and like Jubilee is like, oh, it's better than what I got, razzle dazzle power. I'm just like, that's the best shit ever.
That's the thing, well, it's like, did Dazzler pretty much lead to Jubilee? Because it seems like
I don't know. Well, I think Jubilee is like, I think she's one of the main good guys in the Apocalypse movie. I'm pretty sure. I think she's in it.
In the new one?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't.
Mike, look it up, because you're looking up everything on your fucking phone anyway.
It's just Jennifer Lawrence. It's not even Mystique. It's just Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah, more or less. Although I do like that.
I see like cardboard cutouts of X-Men Apocalypse, and I'm like, oh, there's Jennifer Lawrence. I think she's Mystique.
Yeah. Well, no, it's interesting, because, like, yeah, and how a lot of the actors, like, I mean, Magneto now is, you know, Sir Ian McKellen and everything. I mean, he was Tom Kane was just doing Sir Ian McKellen in the Wolverine and the X-Men version of him. You know, Professor X has just been Patrick Stewart.
Well, I think even in the 90s, before they, long before live action X-Men came out, I'm sure people were like, want to know who would make a great Professor X? Patrick Stewart.
Sure, but also in the 90s cartoon, he wasn't British, though. I think he was kind of proper, but he wasn't
but when you think of, it was like, what bald, smart, wise actor would geeks think of to play Professor X?
Well, it's kind of interesting, though, too, because I forgot if I said this. If I'm repeating myself, I apologize. But when we watched the Pride of the X-Men short, when I saw that at the time, I was like, this is my favorite version of Professor X. Because as far as I've been told by people like Xander who actually know comics, Professor X is not, I don't think, supposed to be British. He's from New York. So him having, like, just, he's very proper, and no, Kitty, like, I have the ability to read people's minds. It's like, that works,
hey,
and it makes sense for where
Professor
he's from.
X.
Hey,
I'm rolling here.
Shoots it. No, he's a parasite, guys. Don't worry about it. There was no Professor X.
There's no New York Professor X.
I guess...
he was young. He was shot in the spine, and then he lost all his hair.
Poor guy.
Crushed by Satan.
Is there anything
that actually happens in the comics?
It does it?
A guy named Satan breaks his
literally
spine.
named Satan. That's amazing. I guess was there anything else to say about Wolverine and the X-Men, or
unfortunately I can't really remember as much.
See, that's what kind of sucks.
Like I said, I only watched it once. While like Evolution, I would see so many times.
I mean, it is a really good series, and I like it. It is hard. I feel bad that like it's. I'm not remembering like enough to say about it in the first place, like compared to Evolution that we went on for like fucking 40 minutes about. But I guess
I think it didn't get a good chance. I think it didn't get a proper chance. I don't know if it was originally like picked specifically for Nicktoons. I think it just they had this show, and I think they were just trying to pitch it to some network.
And like find a place for it. Yeah,
I
don't know about that. That is curious. Well, because like I mean, was X-Men Evolution was on everywhere. It was on WB.
It was on Cartoon Network, but Cartoon Network didn't even air the full series.
Did they not?
I think they aired like the first season or two, and they just never.
No, I feel like I remember seeing a lot of the later episodes, like because they played on like weekday nights for a while.
Yes,
right?
Yeah, like 10 p.m. or something like that.
And then I guess Disney XD had it, which I had no idea that was the thing at the
Disney
time.
XD is like, we own Marvel. I guess we'll take this. It was
Yeah.
probably X-Men Evolution is really cheap, so probably that's why a lot of
Yeah,
people
maybe. I mean, Wolverine and the X-Men felt like it had still a pretty good run, like 26 episodes. Like you can still do a lot of
26 episodes
cool
is a
shit.
pretty good run for a show that got canceled.
Yeah. I guess kind of what
Prematurely,
I didn't think to talk about this, but if there were to be a new X-Men cartoon, because we really haven't had one since Wolverine and the X-Men. I mean, like, is there anything that you guys would want to see in it, or any particular kind of thing?
It's a really tough call, because when you think back, we've had 3 cartoon series now.
All pretty distinctly different, I would say.
All of them cover just about everything.
Yeah. I guess it would be cool if it was like an X-Men. I mean, like, you know, I hate to use this as a scapegoat, but like Beware the Batman was like, hey, what if we did a Batman series with like a lot of the more like obscure kind of Batman villains? And like, okay, conceptually I can appreciate that, even though the show wasn't done very well. Sorry, everybody.
That is good. That is going to be like the Beware the Batman is going to be like the answer to like a Trivial Pursuit. It's yeah.
It's a nice Birdman reference. Good job.
I mean it's a common phrase.
Yeah, I think it would be kind of cool if, like, I mean, even if they had like the standard like kind of team for the good guys, like, you know, your Scotts and Wolverines and Jeans and stuff like that.
Yeah, like it's.
But like the more kind of oh, you know what? Actually, what the fuck is it? Mojo? They had Mojo in X-Men, Wolverine and the X-Men. I was like, oh, that was an unexpected kind of character. Yeah. No. Wait, was it Charlie out there? Oh, yes, it was. That's right. Yeah, it was. I think. But yeah, he was played by somebody else because Mojo showed up in Avengers Assemble at some point.
Yeah, it was, like one thing I did like about Wolverine and the X-Men is it used a lot of characters that Evolution didn't.
Yeah. I would like to see more of like the kind of unexpected, like, you know, characters that maybe none of the cartoons, or at least maybe like that we haven't seen in the cartoons, like maybe since the '90s show. Because I'm sure the '90s show like fucking dipped into every character in existence at some point. Dude, we need Morph. We need Morph again, guys. I'm telling you, missing out on an opportunity.
I'm sure we'll get a new Wolverine. New X-Men cartoon. Eventually.
I hope so. It's been a long
depends.
time.
Well, if depending how well
Apocalypse does, yeah.
But then again, I don't like First Class did well, and then Days of Future Past did well. I'm like, I don't understand. Like, I guess they naturally just been like, let's keep making movies.
Yeah, well, I think after this we have one more Wolverine-centric movie, and then Hugh Jackman's like, I'm done after that, which is fine. He's allowed to do that. And then I think there's been talks about, maybe they'll do like X-Force, which is like another team of characters entirely, which could be interesting. I am looking forward to, you know, might as well blow it off. We've been hearing that X-Men Apocalypse apparently isn't all that great. I'm still looking forward to seeing it. We're going to watch it while we're away at Fan.
I'd still rather go see it more than I would like Batman v Superman.
Yeah, which, no thanks. We're going to go see it when we're away.
So at least from what I heard with Apocalypse, it's not so much like, this misses the point.
Yeah.
It's more like it tries to cram a whole lot and doesn't do a lot with the a lot that it put in.
Yeah. Well, it was just what's exciting to me about it is the fact that, like, hey, we're going to get an X-Men movie with the fucking X-Men in it doing X-Men things in a team together, which we basically haven't had in fucking, like...
That's actually kind of the problem this time.
Is it?
It's like, okay, now we finally have the X-Men team together. This is, you know, they're the X-Men. They're in uniform. They're all fighting together. Let's jump straight to Apocalypse.
Yeah.
It's like...
I mean, I guess like it's only natural because it's natural when you think about it. It's like, we had X-Men movies now for 16 years.
You'd be like with this new Spider-Man movie coming up, Homecoming. You'd be like, okay, trying Spider-Man again.
Venom.
Here's Venom and the Sinister Six. Go
immediately. Yeah, that's fair. Well, I mean, granted, in that case, it would just be like Spider-Man by himself versus a bunch of villains, which like, maybe they could do something with that.
Here's Spider-Man and the Fantastic Four versus
exactly. Yeah, or like the Ultimate Spider-Man gang, where it's like him and like White Tiger and Iron Fist and Power Man and all that. Is Power Man Luke Cage, right? Yeah.
They don't use Power Man anymore. They just call him Luke Cage.
Sorry, I'm bad at comic booking. In that case, sure. Well, I mean, I guess we'll see how it goes. I don't know. I'm trying to stay relatively hopeful about it. I fucking refuse to believe people saying it's worse than X3 because that's not humanly possible. There's no fucking way. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. But either way, I don't know.
I remember not hating X3, but then again, I was a kid.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm going to talk about when we're away at Fanime, because this is coming out a couple days before we leave for Fanime up in San Jose, California. Go to these guys' artist alley table and buy their shit. I'm going to leave behind a Kirblog about my thoughts on the movie specifically, and then when I get back, by that point, we'll have seen Apocalypse, and then I'll have my thoughts about the movie specifically. But I guess at the very least, what I'm looking forward to is a movie, a live-action movie with the X-Men team in it, getting to do X-Men things. Even if it's just, like, half-decent, I'm still excited about that, because I love the team. Like, X-Men... The X-Men team is such a... Because I love, like, a big gang of, like, good guy characters working together and, like, having their shit,
like
and, et cetera. Like...
People like a
big family.
Like a varying cast of characters.
Yeah, like a big like family of like people that all have their shit to deal with and everything. There's and also the fact that they're all, like we were talking about in a lot of the Spider-Man Kirblog with my guests about how Peter Parker's an outsider. I mean, you have a whole society of outsiders. And like, genuinely feeling like I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I don't know what my future is. I don't know if I'll be safe tomorrow morning. Even though they're like super powerful, it's like it's a great concept that even though like the movies have been hit or miss, there's been no cartoon presence, which has been a big thing for X-Men for years, for like since 2009 or 10 or whatever.
Which really surprises me.
Yeah. Excuse me.
And then again, it's like what we've had 2 Avengers cartoons.
Yeah, that's true.
Since the movie.
Like, yeah, in that time, because I think Earth's Mightiest Heroes was after Wolverine and the X-Men was over, wasn't it? I think. Yeah. Or like maybe around the same time.
We had 3 Avengers cartoons.
Oh,
Earth's Mightiest, Avengers Assemble, and Superhero Squad.
Oh, well, that's kind of its own thing.
That had a lot of X-Men characters in it.
Yeah, that's true. That's kind of its own
because X-Men
thing.
In that was like, okay, yeah, I've seen some episodes. It was like a high school.
Oh, was it? Oh, okay.
Scott was like a prep. It totally makes sense. Scott and Jean would be fucking. Perfect.
Yeah, I mean I don't mind the existence of that show. It's whatever. It was a good show.
I mean, I don't care. It was totally self-aware, and if anything, it was like Marvel fans just poking fun at Marvel.
Yeah. Yeah, I would. I don't know. I really do hope maybe some. See, what's a shame though is I think because a lot of it is so dependent on like the new movies and how well they do, and like trying to get people excited. I don't know if we would get another big X-Men cartoon again after that.
And you're talking about all this crossing over with. It reminds me of something Mike says that I've kind of like adopted as well because I feel the same way. I'm not crazy about X-Men existing in the same universe as the rest of Marvel.
Yeah, for sure. They work better on their own.
Yeah.
There are certain X-Men that do mix well.
Yeah.
Wolverine
works well. I mean, like, Professor X and Magneto and, like, Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver have had a lot to do with, like, the other Marvel.
Yeah. But just, like, as soon as you have mutants existing in
a world where other characters have supernatural powers.
Other superheroes, other powers.
Yeah.
It really makes being a mutant doesn't seem less special.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
into like Civil War and all.
Oh yeah, no, that would have been
in the comics. The X-Men basically say like, count us out. We're not participating.
Yeah, and that's why like I'm not torn about like as you kind of put it, Fox doesn't want to play ball with like in terms of having the live action stuff crossed together. Yeah. Everything like Sony was cooperative with Spider-Man.
It's too late to work X-Men into the cinema.
Yeah, and even if they were able to in the beginning, I don't think I would have wanted to. I think it's
too
fine
much
this way. Yeah,
too much. Like I said, I like because I like the idea of X-Men just being its own universe. I'm like, oh hey, it's a world where everyone's just normal, and then all of a sudden everyone starts becoming mutants. I'm like. If you have like mutants in like worlds with superheroes, then like it makes characters like Spider-Man kind of just seem okay.
Is he a mutant?
You're an art.
You're a mutant. You're a freak.
Yeah.
This mutant. We're taking this mutie out of New York over here.
No, that's a misconception. I'm not a mutant. I was mutated.
Only technically.
Yeah. We'd like to be referred to as mutated.
Metahumans. I like how Static Shock. I love Static Shock for the record, but I like in the beginning, like the first episode when he gets his power, and Richie's like, "Oh, you're like a mutant." He's like, "I prefer metahuman." I'm like, "We get it. You can't. You don't want to. You want to differentiate it.
That's how someone would totally talk. I prefer a word I'm just thinking of right now, metahuman.
Yeah. Well,
that's the DC term, I think, for me.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Is I just got through doing a pair of Looper video. I don't know if they're out by the time that this is coming out, but I did a pair of Looper videos. In fact, if they are out, I'll have an adaptation to it about like what characters like Marvel ripped off from DC, and then vice versa, and like which characters kind of like equate to each other in both things. Because like Jack Kirby like bounced around a lot, and a lot of the same people that knew each other and everything, which is kind of funny. But X-Men, yeah. I hope maybe someday from now we get another X-Men cartoon. I mean,
Well, hell, someone bought me the Wolverine and X-Men Blu-ray a couple Christmases ago. I should really pop that bad boy open.
Have another review. You've marathon X-Men Evolution like 3 times at least. I feel like
maybe.
Yeah, because every time I come over, I feel like you're always like in the middle of like watching an episode at some point.
I haven't been watching them.
No, okay.
It's been a while since I've watched.
Well, then I'm lying to the world about that. I'm sorry, everybody. I lied.
I think the last time I watched the series was maybe like 3 years ago. So.
Fun way to end it. Off the cuff. Don't think about it too hard. 3 favorite X-Men. Any characters from X-Men.
Part of me doesn't want to say Wolverine.
You can if you want.
I don't want to say Gambit because I think like, oh, Gambit's cool. But
it can be a
I do like the Cajun
one.
thing with Gambit, but I'd definitely say Nightcrawler. Mm-hmm. Love Nightcrawler. I think like, oh god, there's so many good interpretations of Nightcrawler. Like Evolution, he's great. So I really like him over in the X-Men, and I fucking love X2.
Alan Cummings. Nightcrawler will be in Apocalypse. That's cool.
But I don't think it's going to be the same.
No, it won't be the same.
I think it's not going to feel
none of them are the same. So,
No, it's like it's not going to feel as special as it was back in 2003 when the opening, like just the opening act of X2. I could gush about X2.
Oh, yeah.
Nightcrawler, easily one of my favorites. Mm-hmm. I'd like to say Colossus. I think he's the big guy, but like he's got like a really cool power, and I think now like people are starting to make him a little more campy. Like in the Deadpool movie, he's
he was great. The Deadpool movie.
Boy Scout, yeah, he's fantastic. One of the best parts of that movie was Colossus. My third favorite, Rogue. Really love Rogue's story. Kind of just, she's definitely one of those characters, like, she's just been shunned from society because her power literally, like, hurts people.
Yeah.
I would say I really like those 3.
Okay, so Gambit, Colossus, and Rogue. All right,
no. Nightcrawler, Colossus.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Nightcrawler, Colossus, and Rogue. Right now, 3 ones that are none of those.
Oh, none of those?
Yep.
Well, my favorite's gone, then.
Oh, are there all 3 of them?
No, like... Rogue was my favorite.
Oh, okay. Of all, like 100%.
Like all versions of Rogues.
Okay.
So, aside from that...
your 3 favorites are all 3.
Rogue, and Rogue.
Rogue. No, I don't know. I guess most versions of Wolverine are pretty cool.
Yeah.
Especially, I like Scott McGill's voice in them, too. So.
Well, also, you don't have them at the moment, but I mean, your fucking sideburns are very Wolverine. See, no, that's the thing. I was going to draw you as Wolverine with, like, alpha sideburn version. I was going to draw you as Colossus, actually.
That makes sense.
And I'm sorry. And then myself.
That's why I like Colossus.
You can totally do it, dude. I would love to see you do a Colossus cosplay someday.
I'm not going to wear red underwear.
And I was going to draw myself as Cyclops because I'm a fucking square.
Cyclops.
Cyclops.
I don't know. I guess a third favorite, Evolution, Boom Boom.
Oh, yeah. Oh, she's
can I give a shout out to Ian McKellen as Magneto?
Oh, sure. Yeah, of course. Well, yeah, we didn't want to take
iron in your blood.
Which
I love that, like, like Magneto for the most part, and like, in the animated stuff and the comics, he's a buff old dude.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense for him to be buff.
Yeah, he's an old man.
I've never seen Magneto fight hand to hand.
Yeah, I think just because that was just how everybody was drawn back then in general,
I don't see Magneto, like, hitting the gym and pumping iron. I just lift it and throw it across the room with, like, my freaking float, make it float.
Let's see. For me, Iceman I do like, not just because he's a competent ice elemental character, but I actually think he's kind of cool for the most part. I like him in most of the.
I like
Frozone
things.
Where is my super suit?
That's my favorite interpretation of an ice character.
Yeah, Frozen's pretty badass.
When he's fucking I'm talking about fucking Incredibles. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
He's kind of skiing and he's throwing ice as he's doing it.
Yeah, no, he's great. He's.
I think it's
Iceman should take notes, even though he probably took notes from Iceman. To be fair,
well,
but
Iceman
just stand.
Okay, yeah, thank you. I was
yeah.
a whole bridge that someone else has to clean up.
All right, you know what? Fuck, I won't count Iceman.
No,
Whatever. No, because
you like your ice power.
I know, but he's like I feel like I've never actually seen a version of Iceman. Even in the movies, where I like Sean Ashmore on him and everything, but like he doesn't get to do a lot.
Yeah, like the live action like Iceman's like the only one I could really like.
He's kind of he was funny in Wolverine and the X-Men for the scenes that he had because Yuri Lowenthal was really funny on him, but like he's just like I'm here.
Yeah, he's just I'm here.
Cracking a joke. Bye. Okay. I won't.
Me and Kitty are dating. I'm like, no.
I won't.
Kitty and Colossus.
I won't count Iceman because I feel there's more that I like for deeper reasons. That I would say Kitty's one of my favorites. I like her a lot. She's
oh my god.
She's like oh my god. No, but like there's been a lot of
teach me how to drive.
There's been a lot. She's the most like different I've seen in it. Like Astonishing X-Men, she's actually like kind of a mentor kind of character in that. Mm-hmm. Even in the fucking Pride of the X-Men thing, she was kind of funny as like the relatable kid character.
As that 14-year-old who looked 30.
Well, again, the style of the time of 80s cartoons. Evolution, she's hilarious for being such a Dorko Valley girl. Mm-hmm. And even the movies, I liked Ellen Page's performance was pretty cool. You know, when they were like, okay, now we're going to actually make Shadow Cat a character and not a cameo for 5 seconds by different actresses. So I'd say Kitty. Mystique, I really like all versions of her as well. She's super cool. Mm-hmm. And
I feel like they purposely made her more of a major player now because Jennifer Lawrence just blew the hell up.
I mean, yes,
I'm not, and not to knock Jennifer Lawrence down a peg. I just feel like I never felt like Mystique was that major player, but then it's like, oh shit, we have Jennifer. Like we've been using Jennifer Lawrence. She's kind of a big deal.
Sure. Well, you know what? But in the original in the trilogy of X-Men movies, she was a pretty important like villain character that had a lot of stuff to her. And then like,
her and Magneto in the second movie were the best. We love what you've done with your hair.
Yeah, and then
fucking love that movie.
And then in the cartoons and stuff, she was really cool, and she's a very intriguing kind of character. I think you know what? I think it's just because they realized, there's so much potential with her, like as like a shape shifting, like badass, like assassin girl. We can do so much with her, and then they might have just like, hey, and Jennifer Lawrence is a really good actress, so like a good combination of everything. So that might have been more of what it was. Mm-hmm. And then a third one, God, Colossus and Rogue. Yeah, Gambit is cool, but he's not one of my absolute favorites. I don't know. You know, actually, you know what? Magneto, actually. Magneto's also, like, especially as I've learned a lot more about... You know what? Actually, I'll say this about Magneto. I remember, I think it was after we went to go see Frozen, the fucking weird non sequitur. We were talking about... Because we were with some of your cartooning friends.
This movie would be so much better with Frozen.
Right? Yeah. Disney, what are you thinking, guys? Come on, get with the program. And Marvel. By extension. About when like, and I've talked about this also. This is very a little off topic, but like I talked about in my shipping Kirblog a long time ago. At this point, about like how I get why people are excited about shipping characters and like why relationships and stories are interesting and everything. And for a long time, like I used to be really like pessimistic about when people would ship like characters if they were like kind of like stereotypical yaoi like DeviantArt fangirls or whatever, and just like I ship it because I get off to this and not because it makes any sense or whatever. And I think it was you who pointed out, well, with Professor X and Magneto, because Charles and Magnus like know each other for that long, and there's all this like tension and there's all this history and everything, like people who kind of like have that ship in their heads, like that makes sense because it's based on something that like is logical and not just like they're hot and I want to see them fuck or whatever. When you pointed that out to me, and I think it was like we were talking about it for some reason after we went to go see Frozen with everybody, I thought about that and I was like, yeah, actually that does kind of make sense. And I'm not even in like, oh, dude, I totally ship Professor X and Magneto. If you do, good for you. Maybe that makes sense too.
Movie versions
of Fassbender and McAvoy.
The old ones.
Oh yeah.
McKellen and Stewart.
Yeah,
they're
actually,
buds.
Yeah, that's true.
In real life, they're buds.
Yes, actually, that does make sense for sure. That might have been on purpose too, for all we know. Because and also, you know what? Okay, I'll cheat. Professor X and Magneto, like in tandem, like maybe Magneto a little bit more, so I'll put him as the third one, just because like he has like so much like really the fact The fact that like he almost got a movie to himself, which just became First Class.
That was the original plan.
Yeah, I think First
Worked
Class
out better that way.
Yeah, for sure.
I think because people are also really soured on Wolverine
Origins. Yeah, for sure.
Bad movie.
Yeah, but First Class. I mean, I'll be talking more about this later. But First Class, I think, is still my favorite thus far. My favorite actual X-Men movie, hands down. But cool. Well, I think that's going to wrap us up. So thank you guys again for. It's been like 3 of these we've done in the last like month or so.
Yeah,
It's been a lot of
month. Yeah,
it's been a lot of fun. Y'all are great to talk to. So actually, real quick, please give a plug to because we're when we're away for the next one after this, we're going to be at Fanime in San Jose, California, and these guys will be at the Artist Alley table. Do you guys have like your booth number or anything like that?
1405.
Okay.
14.
I think I'm next to you, so I think it's 1404.
Okay.
Could be 1404.
I'll have an ad video like promoting like, hey, come buy stuff from these guys. So.
Well, if anything, just follow me on all social media. Steve Yurko.
At Steve Yurko.
If you're curious about conventions, I have a list of the cons I'm going to on my website. So.
Yeah, I'll probably post a map on like Twitter and Tumblr and all that.
At Mike Lucas. Follow them. I'll have links to their stuff and everything. I'll be there. I'm going to be doing a panel on Friday. I'll have a whole video and everything with all the information about all our shit and everything. But so hopefully maybe we'll see some of you there. Come up and say hi and buy art from them. And I'll probably be helping at the Level Up Studios booth a little bit because I think they're going to bring some tone merch with them for me to hang out with. I'm hanging out with the merchandise. That's what I'll do instead of my friends, Cool. And we're going to see X-Men Apocalypse while we're away, and hopefully it won't be awful. I hope to God. And that's going to do it. So, in the comments below, tell us favorite X-Men cartoon, favorite character from it. Maybe if you liked all of them, tell us your reasons why you like one more than the other or one less than the other, et cetera, et cetera. Curious for all sorts of opinions. If you have recommendations for perhaps episodes of the 90s X-Men cartoon that are worth checking out since we, kind of missed the boat on it as kids. Recommendations for X-Men comics to maybe get into that are good jumping on points or anything.
I'd say that for sure.
Let us know in the comments. I'm genuinely curious. And, favorite things that you want to share and let us know. Maryville is winding down. Next weekend will be my thoughts on the X-Men movies solo, and then after that will be my thoughts on the X-Men Apocalypse movie after we get back from seeing it, and then that'll bring Maryville to a close. I've got a bunch of Kirblog topics I'm way overdue on to get to after that, so I'll just be back to normal stuff, no more themed months for a while. But if you have ideas for future Kirblog topics in general, post a comment about that too, etc. if you'd like, and we'll get to that soon. So that's it. And say bye-bye, Daggy.
I don't want your future.
X-Men!
Future. Can I go now?
Run, Mary!
Can I go now?
No.
I go wherever I want to go.
Snick, snick, snick.